welcome back to Race Recap. My name is Jackson. Today we will be doing preseason part number 3, the final preseason of 2022. So today we're going to be looking at the ARCA Menard series, the ARCA East and the ARCA West, and also I talked about it toward the end of the last video, preseason part 2, a possible new series we will be recapping on Race Recap. And it is true, I have decided to recap the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car series, but we will get more into that toward the end of the video. So let's start out by looking at the ARCA Menard schedule for 2022. Looks about the same as last year. You can pause the video if you want. Another 20 races, except at the bottom there, Toledo will be the season finale this year. Last year it was Kansas. Also returning in the middle of the summer will be Lucas Oil Speedway in Indianapolis. They'll be going there with the Truck Series, and they'll be starting their playoffs there in the Truck Series as well. They'll return to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Tours, which was a fun race last season. And of course, they'll be starting off with the Truck Xfinity and Cup at Daytona here in a couple weeks. Now, it's hard to say what drivers will be going full-time this year in the ARCA series, but we have a good estimate on who will be. So the 2 Rev Racing cars, the 6 and the 2, Raja Cruz will be in the 6, and Nick Sanchez will be in the 2. They'll be going full-time. Tony Breidinger will be in the number 25 this season full-time. Amber Balkin will be in the number 30 Rhett Jones Racing car this season. The number 43 will be Daniel Dye full-time. And, of course, Brad Smith, the old veteran, will be full-time once again in the number 48. And, of course, there will be many other cars that will be competing, but they will not be full-time drivers. They'll be sharing rides with multiple drivers. Alright, so now let's move on to the ARCA East Series. See, only 7 races, and 4 of them they'll be alone. The other 3, the last 3 actually, you'll see they have an asterisk beside it. That's because they are combination races with the ARCA Menard series. So it's about the same as last year. It'll start out next weekend at New Smyrna, and then of course going into Five Flag Speedway, Dover International Speedway, and the Nashville Fairgrounds as always. Last year they were at Southern Motorsports Park in North Carolina, but they will not be going there this season. And of course the 3 combination races, Iowa, the Milwaukee Mile, and their season finale at Bristol. So, there are not too many, there are only 4 actually, full-time drivers in the ARCA East, but of course there'll be other cars that will be going part-time. So, Leland Honeyman will be in the number 02 Young's Motorsports car. Caleb Costner will be in the number 14 car. Taylor Gray will be going some ARCA Menards races, but also full-time in the ARCA Menards East Series. And lastly, Steve Austin will be in the number 22 full-time. So here is the ARCA Menards West schedule. See a lot more, well, not too many more, 11 races, and only one, that asterisk for the first race, is the start of their season, and they'll be doing it with the ARCA Menard series at Phoenix Raceway. Also, they'll be going to Sonoma once again, and that was a fun race last year. Of course, Portland International Speedway, that was always fun, and they'll be ending their season right where they started, once again, at Phoenix Raceway. So there are a lot more full-time drivers on the ARCA West than the ARCA East. The 2 Sunrise Ford Racing cars, the 6 and the 9. The 6 will be Jake Drew full-time, and Tanner Reef will be his teammate in the number 9. Chris Loudon will be in the Loudon Motorsports car, the number 11. Either the 12 or the 70, still not too sure yet, but Kyle Keller will be full-time in one of those 2. Austin Herzog will be in the number 16. Of course, Bobby Hillis Jr. will be returning again, the number 27. Paul Pedroncelli Jr., or PJ Pedroncelli as we call him, will be full-time, the number 33. The 39 will be full-time this year, that's Andrew Tuttle. And also, Joey East will be full-time again, and the number 54. Alright, so now let's move on to the IMSA Sports Car Series. Alright, so the IMSA Series, or the International Motorsports Association, has a couple things very special about it. Now, one thing is that they do not have a set lap amount like in the Cup Series or every other series we recap. They have a time amount, so some races are 2 hours and 40 minutes, some are 100 minutes, and some, like the season opener a few days ago, are 24 hours. And of course, you cannot have a driver race for 24 hours, so there are about 3 to 4 drivers for those big endurance races, as they call it, that will interchange throughout the event. So you do not have to have one driver for 24 hours. And even for some of those smaller races, they still have about 2 drivers per car that switch out about halfway through. Also, another special thing about the IMSA series is that there are 5 classes of racing, so 5 different cars all in the same race. Now, there is DPI, which is a very fast car. There is GTD, which is a pretty fast car, but DPI car laps of almost double the speed of a GTD car. So at the season opener a few days ago, I won't spoil it. You'll have to watch the next video to find out. But the winner of the DPI class had lapped a GTD car 60 times. But that same car that was lapped 60 times won its class. So that's an example of how much faster they are. There's also GTD Pro, which are basically GTD cars but with some veteran drivers. And then there's LMP2 and LMP3. I also have some pictures here to show. So this is a picture of a DPI car. That's what they look like. Kind of look like an airplane I've heard before. This is an LMP2 car right here. An LMP3 car. If we all hold it, I'll hold it right here if you want to see the difference. The LMP2 car is a lot longer, significantly longer than the LMP3 car. Also, the cockpit is much longer than the LMP3 car. Here is a bunch of GTD cars, so not necessarily the same type of car, but there's Audis, Mercedes, BMWs, Lexuses, Lambos, and even some Porsches in there as well. So, about the same. There are some Corvettes, though, in the GTD Pro car, but there are also some of those same cars in the GTD Pro. Just basically, once again, pro drivers and GTD cars. Alright, so that's about all you need to know about the IMSA series, except the schedule. So here it is. It's 12 races through 2022. If you want to pause the video, take a closer look at it. I'm going to explain it a little bit. So the season opener a few days ago was 24 hours, the Rolex 24 at Daytona. I won't spoil it. That video will be coming out in just a couple days. But as you see here, it tells you the time amount in the middle right here. And over here on the far side, it shows you what classes are racing. So those cars I just showed you. That means they will not always be racing together. So like, for instance, the next race at Sebring, that's 12 hours, another endurance race. You see at the bottom here, blue races are endurance and the red are kind of the shorter races. But then the next race, which is a few weekends later at Long Beach, will just have the DPI cars along with the GTD and the GTD Pro. The next race at Laguna Seca will have GTD Pro, GTD, and DPI, but it'll also have the LMP2 cars. So you understand what I'm saying. So if you want to pause it again, take a closer look at it. But I am very excited to be recapping this race, and of course, the Rolex 24 at Daytona, which was the season opener for IMSA. That video will be race recap by me in just a couple days. So for today, that's all for race recap. Come join us when all series will be starting their 2022 season over the next few weeks.